Amigos, ¿cómo están? Tenemos en este momento una información de última hora. El jefe interino del FEMA de Trump, Cameron Hamilton, salió de la oficina un día después de desafiar el plan para abolir la agencia durante la audiencia del Congreso. Despidieron a esta persona. El administrador interino del FEMA, Cameron Hamilton, fue retirado abruptamente de su puesto el jueves, solo un día después de oponerse públicamente al impulso de la administración para abolir la Agencia Federal del Manejo de Emergencia. Según los informes, Hamilton, un orgulloso partidario de Trump y ex Navy SEALs que dirigió FEMA desde enero, fue escoltado de la sede de la agencia después de enfrentarse con Trump y el secretario de Seguridad Nacional, Kristi Noem, de desmantelar el FEMA, según fuentes citadas por la CNN. Un correo electrónico interno revisado por el correo de Washington reveló que David Richardson, veterano del Cuerpo de Marines y secretario asistente de la Oficina de Destrucción de Masa del DHS, ha sido nombrado para asumir los deberes del administrador del FEMA con efecto inmediato. La oficina de prensa del FEMA confirmó el traslado de esta persona, afirmando claramente que Cameron Hamilton ya no está sirviendo en esta capacidad. La razón de su remoción sigue sin estar clara, pero se produce solo un día después de que Hamilton testificó ante el Comité de Asignaciones de la Cámara, donde se opuso firmemente a eliminar el FEMA, una postura que contradice directamente la posición del presidente Trump y el secretario del DHS, Kristi Noem, quienes han estado presionando para regresar la preparación y respuestas del desastre al control estatal y local del Estado. El presidente Trump quiere desmantelar el FEMA y devolverle los poderes a los estados, que los estados se encarguen de los efectos naturales ocasionados por los desastres naturales. Como asesor principal del presidente sobre desastres y gestión de emergencia y del secretario de Seguridad Nacional, no creo que sea lo mejor para el pueblo estadounidense eliminar la Agencia Federal del Manejo de Emergencia, dijo Hamilton, bajo las preguntas de la representante Rosa. Vamos a escuchar a continuación lo que dijo el jefe del FEMA retirado después de decir que la agencia no debe ser abolida. Quiero que escuchen esto que él acaba de indicar. Miren esto, los subtítulos en pantalla.
Chairman Omade, Ranking Member Underwood, members of the subcommittee, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today, specifically on FEMA and our priorities. I'm a combat veteran, a former Navy SEAL, a husband, a father, an experienced public servant, and also a man of deep faith. I've served under 5 different administrations for 2 decades in various capacities in counterterrorism operations, response and recovery, emergency management, and executive leadership. Yet the highest honor of my career is serving right now in the Trump administration, keeping the American people first. I'm now currently serving as a senior official performing the duties of the administrator, which is the longest acronym ever, SOPDO, of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. FEMA was established to provide focused support in truly catastrophic disasters. Yet at times we have strayed far from that core mission and evolved into an overextended federal bureaucracy, attempting to manage every type of emergency, no matter how minor. Instead of being a last resort, FEMA is all too often used by states and public officials as a financial backstop for routine issues that, frankly, should be handled locally. This misalignment has fostered a culture of dependency, waste, inefficiency, while also delaying crucial aid to Americans who are in genuine need. Red tape, bureaucratic inertia, and top-down micromanagement have turned this disaster recovery into slow, costly, and frustrating processes. It was for this very reason I was hired, to refocus this organization in order to better serve the American people under President Trump's mandate. Thanks to President Trump and Secretary Noem, we are now empowered to restore accountability and federalism to disaster relief. FEMA must return to its core foundational role, supporting states only when disasters truly exceed their capacity, simplifying recovery processes, and safeguarding taxpayer dollars through common sense reforms. Under the previous administration, FEMA's top goal was to make equity the foundation of emergency management, which I believe personally is an important distraction from helping those in need. Politics have no place in emergency management, which is why I've directed the termination of additional personnel who fell short of that standard in the wake of the Florida Trump sign scandal, my first week on the job. I have also directed FEMA to focus on 3 operational priorities and have led to a savings of nearly $3 billion for the American taxpayer. Building SLTT capacity, focusing on survivors, and maintaining operational readiness are the goals that we now currently hold, of which you can find on FEMA's website. First, FEMA must return to its roots, where response to disaster is locally led, state-managed, and federally supported. More than 60% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their bank account and are incapable of recovering from disasters without assistance. State, local, tribal, and territorial partners need mentorship to build their disaster preparedness, response, recovery capacity, as well as resources when they are overwhelmed by disasters. Delaying this timely and effective and life-saving assistance should never be impacted by the bureaucracy of Washington, D.C. Secondly, we must focus on survivors using innovative tools, creative methods, and as the President has said, FEMA needs to cut red tape and must communicate with greater speed and clarity. I recall stories of a woman who lost her home and her husband in the same incident and event, only to then call me crying, struggling about how she's navigating her application for assistance. When you hold someone in your arms, as I have before, who's bloodied, covered in dirt, and has seen quite literally their worst day, there is little else you think about other than giving them your best in those challenging moments. The American people deserve better. They deserve to be treated with the highest priority, which is why I've directed my workforce to review and improve all methods of our customer service through technology and any means necessary. Third, we must enhance our operational readiness to build a national resilience plan using risk-informed decision-making. Communities look to FEMA in their greatest times of need, and it's imperative that we remain ready to respond to those challenges. I'm a prudent steward of taxpayer resources. My workforce will prioritize efforts to identify and recover excess funds from contracts, grants, and mission assignments. We will also closely monitor the DRF to ensure that we have firm communication with Congress on a timely basis. In my current role, I've been intentional in my meeting with the FEMA workforce at headquarters at each of our regions, and it's been an honor to serve alongside them. I've also met with countless disaster survivors, hearing their stories and concerns. I joined Secretary Noem in her travel and visit to North Carolina as well as Kentucky, and we've instituted critical reforms, but we still have much more work to do as we enter hurricane season. FEMA needs a top-down reform, and I'm encouraged that President Trump has directed the creation of a FEMA Review Council to conduct deeply needed comprehensive review of this agency. The President has also issued many executive orders to streamline government, and Secretary Noem and I are committed to ensuring those executive orders are carried out in both letter and spirit. Emergency management is at a critical crossroads in our nation as we seek to improve the methods of serving Americans first. This committee has a vitally important voice in that process with oversight and provides us with the resources necessary to achieve and implement efficiencies. I look forward to answering each of your questions. Thank you.
Sí, señores. Entonces, el presidente Trump ha sido muy claro sobre su desdén por las operaciones del FEMA, particularmente después de la deslucida respuesta del huracán Helene en el oeste de Carolina del Norte el año pasado. También firmaré una orden ejecutiva para comenzar el proceso de reforma y revisar fundamentalmente el FEMA, o tal vez deshacerse de ella, dijo Trump a los periodistas, prometiendo transferir responsabilidades de respuesta a desastres a los gobiernos estatales. Francamente, FEMA no es bueno. Creo que cuando tienes un problema como este, quieres irte. Ya seas un gobernador demócrata o republicano, deseas usar su estado para arreglarlo y no perder el tiempo llamando al FEMA. Sí, señores. Entonces, esto es lo que el presidente tiene en este momento en mente: desmantelar la agencia del FEMA y devolverle el poder a los estados, así como hizo el presidente Trump en abolir el Departamento de Educación, que la educación se devuelva a los estados y que los estados se encarguen de las materias asignadas para los niños, para los jóvenes y los universitarios. Entonces, quiero preguntarte algo. ¿Tú estás de acuerdo con esta medida de que el presidente se deshaga del departamento del FEMA y le devuelva el poder de los desastres naturales a los estados? Déjame tu opinión en la barra de los comentarios.